Hello, I'm Jamie.
Hello, I'm Mark, and it's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate.
It's Tuesday night, it's 7:30. It's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate.
Not in our usual place, as you can probably tell in the background.
Yep, not in the shed.
Not in the shed in our garden, we're in
The Peak District.
the old cute barn.
In the Peak District.
There's Jamie.
Hello.
It must take ages to show me up because I've been sitting there watching you for ages.
It does, it's just like, where is he? And then all of a sudden you appear.
But I've been listening to you say, oh, he's weighing his puppies.
It's still not showing you that, as soon as you've come in, I've added you.
Yeah, strange.
Slow.
I've weighed the puppies, they're weighed.
They're weighed.
Yes, they are.
We know who's getting the most milk now.
They're all growing steadily. Yeah, we weigh them every day now.
Jamie, the boy was, the girls were like tiny, the boy was massive to come in the bowl.
Which one was the boy?
The blue one. You know the blue collar, yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, he's massive in the bowl in comparison to the girls.
He's 100 grams heavier than the biggest girl.
Wow.
And the biggest girl, so he's about 700 and the biggest girl's 600.
Pushing out away and having all the milk.
He is. Shoving them off.
Maybe he was the one that was climbing on their heads.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah, they're good. They're good fun, little things.
Little pups.
George likes the one with the purple collar.
Yeah.
Where are you anyway? You're not at home?
No, we're not at home. We're in the old coot barn in the Peak District.
Oh.
Derbyshire.
Derbyshire.
Derbyshire. That sounds like a Norfolk accent.
we are here until Saturday.
Oh, that's lucky.
Where have we been today, George?
Thornbridge Hall.
Oh. Oops, sorry. Where's Thornbridge Hall?
Where was it?
Yeah, where is it? What is it? What do you do there?
It's a hall with some nice gardens.
And you can go in them. You can go in the house for a house tour, but for us free and the dog. Well, the dog we did have to pay for, but for me, you and Mum, it was 30 quid to get in because it was £12 for the adults and £6 for the children. So we were like, we're not going in that. It's a ridiculous amount of money just to get into a house and look around it.
But they've got to pay for the upkeep, as I said.
Yeah, I know.
That's why they do it, so they can keep it. If they didn't do it, that'll go to rack and ruin and fall down.
Mm.
It costs too much money.
Do you remember who's the gardener at Thornbridge Hall?
Yep, it was someone who was on the podcast.
Oh, who?
Noah.
Oh, did you see him?
Yeah, we saw him.
Oh, wow, brilliant. Did you see his, whatever it was he made?
His wreath. Yeah, he's done an autumn wreath.
On our way back. On our way back here.
What you saw? We saw Noah.
Yeah.
He was out near the front gate, so we didn't see him in the garden. He was, as we were leaving, he was planting up some planters on the front gate.
Oh, was he?
So I hopped out and said hello.
Oh, brilliant.
Nice to meet him.
Yeah, lovely.
So he's doing wonders there because I think it's probably 3 or 4 years since I last went, and it's definitely improved. They've got a lot of stuff done. That's really nice.
The last time that we went was like 3-4 years ago, wasn't it?
Yep, when you were a lot littler. Because they planted a new, like a willow dome type thing, and that's all nice and mature now.
Oh, yeah.
When we last went, it was literally just sticks in the ground.
Yeah. Well, we know that don't take long, because look at yours in what's it, 2 years?
Yeah.
2-3 years.
Didn't take very long.
Right.
No. No, really good.
There you
Well,
go.
you're lucky. You're on holiday.
Yep. Luckily, we got here because Steph wasn't very well, and then George wasn't very well, so we were a day late.
No, so we weren't going on Saturday because obviously Mum was poorly with the illness, and then Saturday night.
Yep.
Saturday night, I got it. I
saw your mum's stories.
And I felt rough, and I didn't sleep. And then we realised that that the clocks had gone back. So on my clock it said 10 to 6, but it was actually 10 to 5. So we were like, oh, thanks.
So they got up at like 4 o'clock in the morning or something stupid.
No, 5 o'clock in the morning, Dad.
Hey, Joe.
Anyway, we made it in the end.
Yeah, we made it.
A couple of days late.
No, because we were...
That's all that matters.
And Mummy's still coughing, yes.
That's what you are, Mum.
Right, do your gardening pack then.
Oh, fair. George's gardening facts. Cosmos are sun-loving, easy to grow flowers, native to Mexico, with a name meaning order from the Greek word ordered for the ordered universe, have a long blooming season and come in colours like red, pink and orange, and they attract pollinators like bees and butterflies.
I wonder why the gardening fact was about Cosmos tonight.
Me too. All will become clear.
All will become cleared next week when we're not here.
Not next week, in the next few minutes.
In the next few minutes when we get a guest in.
Yep. In the next 5 minutes or so.
Yep. Anything else to say?
What?
I don't know. I'm asking you if you had anything else to say. What was your favourite part about the gardener earlier?
Garden.
Yeah, what was your favourite part?
Well, they had a trail on. They had a trail on.
What sort of a trail?
A pumpkin trail where you have to spot how many golden pumpkins there are. Where it shaped a number, either 1, 2, or 3, and whatever it made, you have to pick a prize out of it. And I got 3, and I got like a pumpkin goodie bag thing. But you have to spot the golden pumpkins.
To find the golden pumpkins in the garden.
Yeah.
Are they sprayed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were plastic ones. Hung in trees. But then you picked the pumpkin, didn't you?
Yeah.
At the end.
And it's... Shall I go and get it?
If you want, go quick.
Okay, I'll be quick.
Don't fall down the stairs.
So you in a cottage then?
Yeah, it's like an old barn type thing. Old barn conversion.
With beams.
So a small place. Like literally like one room upstairs and then kitchen, lounge.
Oh yeah.
Don't drop it because it'll smash. Don't drop it, it'll smash.
Where they gone?
I'm coming.
I was struggling with my pumpkin.
I was struggling because it's a big pumpkin.
Nah.
Ah.
Nice
Very nice.
It's good, isn't it?
Do you know the variety?
No, they didn't have that variety. I think it sort of looks like a Crown Prince to me.
It's from here. It's got slight stripes, so
yeah, it's got that
my
bluey.
Crown Prince. My Crown Prince never have that greeny tinged stripe on them.
Or Blue Hubbard is the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crown Prince is more ribbed than that.
And the only thing that I've learned today, which you haven't told me, that when you cut a tree, it has rings inside, and that tells how old it is.
You didn't know that, George?
No, I didn't know, but you hadn't told him.
I probably have told you, but you've obviously forgot. That's one of the basic facts that you tell, isn't it?
Yeah, very. What a bad daddy.
Failed as a garden dad.
You are a garden dad. The annoying thing about this place is it hasn't got a garden. It has got a garden, but it hasn't got grass.
No, just gravel.
Okay, is it gravel?
Yeah.
It's easy to maintain for a holiday rental.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here for the next 4 days.
3 days. What day is it today? Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Wow.
4.
So look, Joe's oak tree that's in the front of her house would have over 400 rings. How old does that make that then, George?
4, isn't it?
400 rings.
400.
Dad.
So how old would that be?
400 years.
Correct.
Right. Yeah, we have another 4 days here, I think.
Yep. Right, go on then.
Okay.
See you tomorrow.
See you, George. Have a good holiday.
Yeah.
There, I'll carry it down because you might drop it, and then it'll be a smashed pumpkin.
Mm.
Bring it down when you finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good night. Yeah, this is the place that I was staying in when we interviewed Arthur Parkinson all those years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still here, by the way. I'm putting that up, so saying you don't fall down.
But I was outside.
That's right. I can remember that. Just barely see your glasses.
And people were saying I look like Guy Fawkes.
So you ain't done the gardening this week? Well, last week, I suppose you have, at work.
No, yeah. I did some on Saturday or Sunday. Picked some tomatoes.
Yeah.
The tomatoes, but that was about it.
Yeah, I ain't done a lot again. I've picked some tomatoes again. There's still lots in there.
Yeah, I've got loads. I think there's some blight coming in now, so that'll probably wipe them out quite quickly.
But I don't think I've ever picked ripe tomatoes off the vine in November, so I think we'll get there.
Yeah, I think we probably will. Well, my ones in my greenhouse that I planted a couple of weeks after, I'm only just starting to pick tomatoes off of those. So as long as they don't get frosted, I'll probably be picking them well into November.
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, which is mental.
Because it's still warm.
Yeah, I mean,
yesterday was quite cold, but today's been lovely again.
I don't know whether we had a frost because it was so windy, wasn't it? So I think that probably kept the frost away.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't seem to be having really low temperatures yet.
Yeah, I've got all my aeoniums in my little greenhouse sheddy bit the other day. Because it's now starting to get that way, isn't it? I just wouldn't want a quick sharp one to knock them all out.
No, yeah, you don't want to lose your ioniums. They're lovely.
No. Yeah, so they're in there. I need to get my backside into gear and do some gardening, but just busy at work, and you think, sometimes you're knackered and you just don't want to, do you?
No, it's hard. It's hard. It gets harder when it's colder. And
colder and dark. That's the thing. You've either got to come home straight away and get out there, or not at all, or wait for the weekend. And I thought the other day, I'll do some gardening. I can't. Got another week to wait before I can actually get out there now. Yeah,
literally. As soon as you get home now, it's dark.
Yeah.
Through evenings, unless you go out in the morning, but then it's usually not light until 7 anyway.
No, that's it. So there's nothing you can do.
Anyone with an allotment, you've literally got your weekends and that's it.
Yeah, you got to go down and make the most of it. Joe's still picking peppers. I've got loads of peppers. My peppers and chilies are doing really well still.
Yeah, I've still got those big long ones that you gave me.
Yeah, they've done really well, haven't they? You think that was just from one red Tesco pepper, that was? It was the finest.
Take the extra for it.
But they don't.
Save the
They've done
seeds.
really well, haven't they? Yeah, save
Been a
and do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Definitely.
I've never had that many peppers off a plant. Usually it's like 2 if you push.
Yeah.
Literally being like, well, probably 20 I've had off one plant. I think I've got another one in the greenhouse which isn't quite there yet. So that one's still got probably another 5 on it.
Good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's obviously because it's been nice and hot and lots of sunlight as well. That's helped it.
It's been a nice long summer.
It really has. Right, let's stop rambling.
Let's get our guest in. So tonight's guest was included in the Hort Week's 100 UK Power List of 2025 of leading horticultural professionals. He has won a gold medal at Chelsea Flower Show for his Cosmos display and has 2 national collections of plants, Holyhocks and Cosmos. He has also rubbed shoulders with the Queen, Camilla. And now he's here with us. What a letdown for him. It's Johnathan Sheppard at the J Sheppard.
Let's see if my comments work or not.
There he is.
Evening.
That
wasn't very nice, was it?
That was a very grand introduction. That was really nice.
Some of it was until he
said something that nice.
Until he said you're a letdown for us. That's not very nice.
I mean that's obvious. I mean, after George gave that wonderful fact, what more can I add?
I'm sure you can add plenty more.
I hope you can.
Let's see how disappointing I am.
Yeah, if not, we've got an hour of sitting twiddling our thumbs. How are you, Johnathan?
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, really good. How are you?
You loving it in the dark now?
Yeah, it's what you were saying though. It's quite weird that when we bought the plot that we're on, we didn't see after summer. We didn't see the garden until the weekend because we were commuting to London, and we took the decision. People thought we were mad in London. I think people in London are mad given the cost of everything, and it was just a scant consolation that we got some greenery at the weekend. So now things have changed a bit. I just feel quite lucky that I get to see a bit of greenery kind of all week, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
But my mum's one to straight away as soon as the clocks go back start moaning. It's dark and it's cold, and it's like, well, yeah, that's what happens in winter.
Sure does. But that's the thing. You sit and think about it, and you do think, oh, it's horrible, cold and dark. But also, I love it. You get the fire on and get stored up. It's nice in some evenings, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me and for sort of I've got involved. It's quite interesting when you see sort of Gardener's World finish whenever it does, mid-October or end of October, and then it's almost like people think there's nothing to do in the garden. and actually, I suddenly can become, the busiest I've been because all of a sudden all the willow that I planted, that I didn't cut it back last year. My God, I better cut it back this year because some of them are 30 foot long, and I'm wood chipping for 2 weeks. Yeah. And I want to do that on a frosty day, not when it's wet and all the rest of it. So all of a sudden, there's all these different jobs that you never see on some of the TV programs because the TV programs focus on, colourful, nice-looking things rather than actually some quite practical jobs that you do this time of year.
Yeah, definitely. I have thought in the past that they should be, carry on through the winter and just tell everybody what there is to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's scope for that. I understand, some presenters want breaks, but there are enough presenters to share it amongst people to show. I mean, my example is always, it sounds silly. I don't need someone to show me now how to sow a sweet pea, and sometimes I'll see that every year, and there's other stuff that I absolutely don't know that would be happening this time of year that I think, oh crikey, I could do that on my plot, and that'd be really interesting. And I don't think that's ever, well, it might have been, but whilst I've been interested in the gardening area, I don't think that's really been covered that much. I'd love, as you know, you'll appreciate too well, that when we flooded in Storm Babbitt, I'd love to know more about sort of what you can do in winter to defend from things like that with your garden, because that's going to become more of an issue, rather than the stuff that I'll do at a flower show that's all very pretty, but that's not the be all and end all of gardening.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah. We should put a petition up and get them to do some more winter programs.
Yeah, definitely, and not just the specials that then suddenly they'll have a special in winter that still focuses on summer stuff.
Yeah, do some, there's autumn showing you can be doing. There's all sorts of winter stuff. It's like the busiest time for a garden.
Absolutely,
definitely. Yeah, it seems like they record loads of things in the summer and then play them in the autumn, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well. Enough about them. We're here to talk about you.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
So, Cosmos,
Holyhocks, yeah.
2 national collections. What's going on?
Yeah, would it be interesting to, maybe it will, to a bit about my background and how I kind of got into it, really.
Definitely, yeah.
It's my background. I do a few talks with gardening clubs, and this is where everybody sort of, I say, this is the chance for you to boo me. Is that my background was, went to university and was in politics, in the sense that I became a political lobbyist. So a political lobbyist is someone that either works for an agency or in-house for a company that tries to influence legislation and politicians, either if they see a threat or see an opportunity. So charities have them. So I did it for the Woodland Trust, where we try and persuade anyhow for government to plant more trees. But I've worked for Boots the Chemist, as was Royal Mail, and worked for myself. Worked for Ladbrokes Coral, which is a big gambling company. And then there was kind of, I guess, one event that persuaded me, there's more to life than this. And the very short story is that I was doing an event in Parliament for Ladbrokes Coral. They have a lot of apprentices, so we were doing a reception, and I got 6 of our apprentices to get into Parliament early, and I thought I'd give them a treat. They'd come from all over the country, and I'd show them around Parliament, because I'd worked in there. And then I saw some person running. I thought, well, you don't run in Parliament. You don't run across the grass. That's a bit weird, having worked there. And then I saw PC Keith Palmer killed by terrorists from about 20 feet away from me, just through glass pane. So I was one of the closest to see that. And the short story is, went back down Victoria Street. My boss waited for me, which was quite nice. I was stopping over in London because this event was happening really late. I got all the apprentices back on. For some of them, it was the first time they've ever been to London. Got them on their trains. And the next day I thought, you know what? There's more to life. That guy could have turned and come in the door rather than didn't turn and come in the door. I mean, literally probably 10, 15 feet away, probably at the most. And and you had to have negotiations with my wife because you have to pay the mortgage. And I kind of decided, what can I do with this 2 acres that I've played around with? And it's not just that I like Cosmos and Holyhocks. I'm not one of those who is obsessed just with their national collection. That's all. I like plants, and I like the process of growing, which is why I never call myself a horticulturalist, because I'm not, because I think that demeans people who are. I'm just a keen amateur that will try, and where he hasn't got the skills, outwork others who have to get to that stage. And then what happened was I went to Hampton Court for the very first time I can't remember the exact year. Could have been 2020, and never been to a flower show before. And it was like, wow. Went into the marquee, because that's the bit I'm interested in. This is no disrespect to people who are landscapers, people who are garden designers. I love growers. For me, they just amaze me. Went in there and it was amazing. And I saw the charity Plant Heritage, and they'd got their missing plants that hadn't got collections. And I thought, well, they haven't got hollyhocks and they haven't got cosmos. And I was grabbed by, I don't know which lady it was, but one of their ladies, for they were all ladies, grabbed me and said, well, join and sign up and apply for one, because they were just keen to get. So I thought, oh God, they've got me now. So I did join, and I went home, and because I think it's the way I'm made, is that I always think, what's the worst that can happen? I don't think it's a bad thing in life. What's the worst that could happen? Yeah. You end up not getting the collection. So I initially filled in the application for both because I'm that stupid, and then I thought, well, step back a bit. Let's do hollyhocks, because for me, having grown both of them just for fun, I found hollyhocks more challenging just because I always liken hollyhocks to, we've got a sheep farmer next door, and he always says that sheep will do everything they can to die on you, and my job is to keep them alive. And I found hollyhocks don't necessarily die, but they'll just end up trying to look tatty. They'll look amazing literally one day, and 20 minutes later, they're covered in rust, and I don't know where it's come from. So let's try those, because they're awkward. Because if I can grow them, what I need to do is learn how to label plants properly, keep records, because previously, a red hollyhock was a red hollyhock. Who cares? Whereas with the National Collection, it was all about cultivars. So I put all kind of the research work in, and what I wanted to do was, I don't want to buy the plants in, because you can for a National Collection, you can literally buy the plants in. You can actually, if somebody's had a collection and they're retiring, so to say, you could inherit it. I wanted to start it all from seed, because that's again, the bit that I enjoy. So I put all the work in, and then COVID hit, which then ended up almost being a double-edged sword, because it let me spend more time at home to kind of do it. But at the same time, you couldn't get hold of stuff. So the day I planted all these 70 different cultivars, and I marked out this grid with each 1 meter square bed had a different cultivar in, I planted them out, wonderful. And this is no, people think I'm making, there's no joke that the next day, blackbirds had pulled up like half of them, because they were intrigued with the wood chip. Everybody says, citizen science says that rabbits their population's going down. Well, they've all moved here. If that's the case, they are all, and they're still all here. They had eyed them up, and whilst I still don't know, whether they love hollyhocks or not, they will nibble anything that's kind of fresh and green initially. Yeah. And moles had pushed them up. So they were stuck with and so it was so literally it looked like, I suspect somebody thought I was going to be growing cannabis, because I had to order 100 from Wicks, 190 litre, the old-fashioned little dustbins. Yeah. Filled them with my wood chip, because I'm a bit tight. I'm from Derbyshire, close enough to Sheffield to almost be a Yorkshireman, so I'm going to be tight with money. I'm not spending lots on compost, and also did a plan B of putting them in bins as well. So I had hollyhocks in the ground. I mean, luckily I had enough spares for it to happen. And then what you had to do was Plant Heritage will send somebody to have a look, and it was like, yeah, they're lovely, they're growing fine. We can award it you now. We don't need to see them in flower. But I said, well, I think you probably should, to be fair, to award the collection. And eventually I got awarded the Hollyhock collection, because no one was doing it. There still is not another one. So, it's kind of the only one. And then I thought, well, now I know how to do the logging of plants, writing cultivar names properly, putting proper plant labels actually out in the grid. I'll do Cosmos as well. And that was because it probably sounds a bit arrogant. I went to another flower show, again, Hampton Court, and I thought, well, the Cosmos here, I've grown nicer ones than that. And they were probably on a trade stand, so that's possibly quite unfair. But they said, well, yeah, go and do it. And again, it was different in the sense that Cosmos are annuals. So it was sourcing your seed, growing them. This time, I absolutely just grew them in bins, almost as big containers, with 5 Cosmos in each bin, knowing that as a national collection compared again to lots which can be trees or anything, my national collection of Cosmos will cease to exist come the first frost, or if they're looking really tatty by then. And then that was awarded. And so literally, these two collections they're both under 5 years kind of old. And so the Hollyhocks one got blasted by the flood water. Not that they're not flood resistant. It's just, it shows, I guess, how fertile the ground is. It spread so much seed that I probably have the nicest mix of non-named cultivars of hollyhocks all over the patch now. So there's still remedial work going back into getting it back to specific cultivars, which is the hard work. And that's when you talk to people, that's when they suddenly realize, oh, it's not just about having, a load of nice plants. No, it's about specific cultivars and working with them. And then I kind of fell into doing flower shows, which is even more bizarre.
Just butt in quickly, Jonathan, before we get too far away from it? I just want to recap again. So you went to Hampton Court.
Yeah.
Who did you go and see to sign up?
Plant Heritage.
Plant Heritage. Yeah. And you said you'd like to do a national collection.
Yeah.
And what? They gave you a list and you could choose?
So they will have, if somebody wants to do one now, they will have a list of various types of plants. So, I don't know what's on their list that have no national collections. I was so surprised that what I thought, even though I know they're not native, I thought hollyhocks, traditional cottage garden plant in the UK. Cosmos, lots of people grow them. They probably use them as bedding plants, but I know there's nicer ones and tall ones. Neither of them had a national collection at all. Right. So their view was, apply for it, but come up with some ideas. So don't just think you're going to get away with growing 6 different hollyhocks and 5 cosmos because no one's doing it, and that will qualify. Yeah, so I went away and did sort of research on how many cultivars are there of hollyhocks, and secondly, how many is reasonable to grow. So going back to sweet peas, I think Roger Parsons did a book where there's been 8,000 named cultivars, but the National Collection of Sweet Peas doesn't grow each one of those 8,000s throughout history. You grow what you can. So I came up with around 70 different hollyhocks, of which some, when you start learning about it, I think some may well be the same, where naughty seed companies have changed the names but not referred to anyone. So whereas plants, there seems to be more stringent rules in naming plants. Yeah. When I chatted with the RHS about seeds, I said if I was being really scurrilous and any name of a cosmos, I just put Sheppard's and then the name. There's nothing you could do, is there? Well, no, because there's not an international register, so there isn't really anything we could do. Right. So it highlights some things like that. Not that there's, you kind of find you become an expert almost de facto, even though I don't think I am. But people will ask you, and I'll say, well, this is my view, is that with the cosmos, there's Cosmos bipennatus, there's 3 yellows: Kiro, Xanthos, and Lemonade. Xanthos, they're already starting to try and call it Xanthos lemon sherbet. I suspect they'll probably want to drop Xanthos and just call it lemon sherbet. So if I
love Xanthos.
Yeah, so do I. But if I came to this 10 years later and they've dropped the name, but you don't know they have, you'll think they're 2 different cultivars. Yeah. And no one's ever told you. And then when you say it might be, well, who cares and who's going to do any genetic testing? Probably no one. So it's almost like the records are as important as anything else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that brings me to my next question. What is a national collection for?
Several. Well, I think the biggest issue is lots of these things, these plants, these cultivars can and do go extinct. So, as a prime example, just what I found out just with the Cosmos is that I took one plant to the flower show, thought it's amazing. It was brand new. It's called Pink Mosaic, brand new Cosmos that had been brought out. I think it's really good. It's got a lot of merit. That Cosmos, from being brought out within a year, the company's not supporting it, because what the company wanted was a Cosmos that would rival all the other dwarf Cosmos, and this was a little bit too tall, so they're probably not going to grow any more seeds of it. Therefore, Mosaic may cease to exist. A second example is Pop Fox Pink, which you might have seen. It'll be on sale. They've had two crop failures, so they may well decide, why are we going to throw more money at that? So that is a Cosmos, and that's the only one that I know with the pink pop socks and the white pop socks with the anemone middle. Therefore, you as a national collection holder, you either then also, in addition to all you're trying to grow this stuff and show people them, is to try and keep them around if you can. Now, what would be far easier than me when you grow a national collection, you've got 70 together. The nightmare is both Holyhocks and Cosmos love to cross-pollinate. the stopping that, I mean, when I had Gardener's World film the Holyhocks, the cameraman was moaning, and it was the biggest compliment I had, was because the bees would not leave his lens alone. And he said, there is no way you will ever be able to isolate it. And that's part of the problem, is that for some, it's almost there's no need because the seeds are readily accessible at the moment. For others, like pink pop socks, I've already tried to, I've taken a cutting of a Cosmos bipinatus. Who would do that? What's the point? Because you grow it from seed. To try and keep that in existence, I've taken some crosses because I think there's some merit in getting a new plant from the pop socks and trying to keep that around. So that's another kind of purpose of the national collections. And I guess another purpose of having them is to almost spread the joy of that kind of plant. So for me, it's the what I get told almost at lots of these flower shows, not that I've done that many, is that Cosmos, they're all small dwarf ones, aren't they, that you put front of border? So no, they're not. But the reason you think that is because what you get in a garden centre is something that fits on a trolley that'll come from Holland that has to be about that size because it's easy to look after, and you won't get as plants the big tall ones. And it opened my eyes to still the number of people out there who are still quite afraid of growing from seed, who still as a purchase practice may go and buy one Cosmos for £8 rather than buy a pack of seeds that then, if they're not bothered about the colour, they'll never need to buy seeds again, to be honest. But they see Cosmos as a plant that costs £8 and it's all this size. And include some RHS judges in this, by the way, that they think that tall Cosmos have, and I quote from some feedback, a lot of stem. Yeah, because that's how it grows. Correct. So your national collection, I think, is all about kind of that, and that, whilst I do like to grow lots of other flowers and plants and try things and question growers how they grow and try and improve how I grow, it's almost you end up trying to become an advocate for the plants that you grow and why, in my mind, that they can be quite beneficial. So I purposely chose, on the whole, are good for pollinators that I know, even though they're non-native, they're not invasive, that might be actually one of these plants that, climate change coming, droughts, and indeed more rain, might be able to extend the pollinator season. So I know that, I've had Cosmos now in flower from April, and we'll have them still in flower in November. The Holyhocks clearly survived my own flood. They grow in a polytunnel in the ground that hasn't had water in it since the flood. The ground doesn't get water. It finds its own water. They're tough as old boots. So if we're looking at plants that actually might be a bit more robust than even some of, let's be honest, for me, even some of our native plants that we get told, we need to focus on them, I think we need to focus on both. And national collection may have some of those answers, because there will, I'm sure there are places, but, I've got a patch where I can say I've got 70 of these cultivars of Cosmos growing together. So I can see the differences, and I can say, because I'm not sponsored by any kind of company, I can say, well, for me, Fandango, lovely colour, but a bit of a weak plant. Things like that. You can just see that by them growing near each other. So it's not about a monoculture either, which is bad, but it's, you're growing a substantial different number of cultivars that you're almost doing, jobs that the RHS do with plant trials. You're consistently trying them every year, and it's like, oh, that's not doing very well. Why is that? And then, I often then send questions about my Cosmos to the RHS because I'm a member their advice, section. So I was saying, the Apollo Cosmos that I grow, they've been touched by something, and they tested that there was no disease, and they thought that it may just be more susceptible to the cold because I've not got heated polytunnels. So it made just a bit of cold meant the leaves went slightly brown, and then it picked up. And it's just like finding that knowledge out because no one else cares, in all honesty. And then at some point, if they do become more fashionable, which again is a threat to plants, which is why Plant Heritage is about, that I'd be the one with that kind of information that you'd happily say, well, here you go. You know, this might be an issue, but you might want to grow that one instead. It's got a better colour. It's a little bit taller. It's more robust. It has more flowers. Things like that.
Right. So you don't have to record it every year and send it to the Plant Heritage, or so they keep all.
Yeah. So where it's tricky for me is every year when. So again, lots of these collections are perennial. You know, some are trees and all the rest of it. Where I find it tricky is the specific time that they send their how many cultivars have you got? None. Because it's wind. So all mine will be in seed. So I can say, okay, this is what I'm intending on growing next year.
Yeah.
So that can be quite hard because like with Cosmos every year there can be new ones. Pink Mosaic came out, Fondant Fancy came out last year, and I quite like that one. I'm growing 2 new ones which are called Pinwheel Pink and Pinwheel White, which is just a different type of seashells where they think it's more reliably has the tubular shape. So, you know, I keep adding to it, but at some point, just because it will be logistically impossible, I'm not going to have, 320 Cosmos growing, because physically with an annual, then it just becomes really hard, because I'm almost quite anal about I'm watering them by hand, I'm watering them by rainwater. I've not got an automatic watering system, doing things like that. So yeah, you do consistently feed back to Plant Heritage what's in those collections, because then they'll have this database of how many cultivars are in all the collections.
Yeah. Mm. Amazing. I think Joe said something earlier about the hollyhocks cross-pollinating. How do you stop that? But I suppose it doesn't matter for you, because you'll get new seeds next year. You won't use your seed.
Yeah, I try to do both. So and that's sort of the EnviroMesh kind of bags where you tie it over, tickle them, and have a go, which has been reasonably successful. But as I say, that if you as you know, sort of with a patch with 100 odd, I also then let lots just become almost a cross-pollinated mix, which I quite like, because who knows? I mean, I'd love to have a go at some point to find one with, as you know, I think the correct term is a bit of merit to maybe let someone bring it to market. And I understand, these days that's going to have to almost be a big seed company that would want to take it on. But that would be, quite fascinating, because they do cross just so easily. And when you have got lots of named cultivars together, there's something really quite interesting could come of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I do love hollyhocks. You see them, like you say, in all the hedgerows and graveyards and everywhere. But some of the colours are amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I sort of started digging into the history, it sounded like that at one point they were grown as a crop because they wanted to try and use the fibrous stems to create material almost instead of cotton, but they didn't have the technology to do it. But they tried acreages of that. Everybody tells me the whole sort of plant's edible. Well, so is a potato, and I'd rather have a potato, thanks. So if anybody wants to munch on really rough, hairy hollyhock leaves, feel free. Not for me. At the same time, they'll say almost you can candy the flowers, and posh restaurants may use them, but I'm not wholly convinced that there's a market for that just yet. You never know. Maybe it'll become the in thing, and then I'm a millionaire next year. Who knows? I'm not holding my breath.
So, how long did you have your collections until you decided to go to Chelsea?
Oh, right, yeah.
Wow.
This whole journey is almost ridiculously quick. I did Hampton Court first. I mean, that's the first show I've kind of done anywhere, and that was amazing in the sense that you don't know what you don't know, and people are very lovely with advice, but if you don't know to ask the right question, then you don't know stuff. So it's okay, how do I get plants down there? I'm in Lincolnshire. Oh right, and Alan Frost, I was chatting to him on the phone, and he said you need a tail lift fan. All right, well, that's good. And you need some of those trolleys. So I got the plant trolleys off eBay. What no one tells you is that the doors on tail lift fans are different heights. And so the day the van came, for Hampton Court, and they're angle grinding the top off of every one of the plant trolley bits of metal because none of them would go in by 2 inches. So I've still got a load where it looks really raggedy, where it's probably quite dangerous because they're at an angle, where it's like, and sparks going near my plants, and I'm getting really precious about the plants and things. So when you first do it, you literally don't know what you don't know. And my biggest fear was that I would look totally out of place. Like, who's this? I used to live in America, so it's American. Who's this hick coming down from the countryside to Hampton Court, which used to be the biggest flower show in the country, and all this, with his Cosmos? How dare he, dirty this tent with his shabby plant? and actually, they did okay. I got a silver gilt, and I was apparently 1 mark off a gold, and I was told my font was too small on my educational board, so that knocked me off. That knocked me off no end, because I missed out on a gold because of font size.
That's ridiculous.
And therein lies my relationship with judges forevermore now, because it went in the book, and you're not forgiven once you go in my book. You might move up or down, but never come out. So I did that. Then I did, and we had fun. That was. What I said, my wife took a week off work.
What year was that?
What we now, so I've done 2022. Yeah, did Hampton Court for the first time and had a great experience. And there was 2 things that did it for me. Was other growers' reactions meant a lot, and the public's reaction.
Yeah.
Because when I look round, and when we'll come on to Chelsea and stuff, I'm still surprised at actually how there's not many annuals there anymore as plants, as actual plants growing in pots with the roots at the bottom. There's not many annuals at all anyway, but then there's lots that are almost as cut flowers, so the sweet pea growers and stuff. But there's not many annuals in it because it's hard work, and there's less financial return, I suspect, for those selling plants, because you sell an annual for, on the whole, less than a nice perennial. Yeah. And so that opened my eyes. Anyway, so I did Hampton Court again, was allowed, didn't show myself up, didn't let the side down. They let me back again the next year, and got a silver. Was quite disappointed, was told some of me Cosmos had a lot of stem. My view was that's like saying the giant redwood has a lot of trunk. Yeah, absolutely. The intention was absolutely to show the stem. That's my view. It's the plant isn't, and it'll come on to Chelsea why I say that, is that the plant of Cosmos for me isn't just about the flower. It's about the leaves, and it flows.
That foliage is amazing.
And in the middle there was one that went like that. It was almost like a firework. It's got a lot of stem, and the judge said, I like this one. I said, well, what you're saying is you just want the dwarf ones. My purpose as a national collection isn't to show all this. I could do that. Wow, that would be really interesting. All the dwarf compact ones. Be wonderful. But it doesn't show the cupcakes that's a different shape, or Dazzler, which can be gangly as anything, and you're lucky to get it into flower at that point, and all that sort of stuff. I don't want, so maybe it's my mistake, but I won't conform to what they'd like to see, and that's fine. So did that. Then I said to her, well, I'm thinking of having a go at Chelsea. Like, well, you can't get flowers like Cosmos ready for Chelsea. It's in May. It's like, well, you don't know me. I'm going to outwork everyone to show that you can. Remembering that sustainability is a bit of a thing with me, so I haven't got these temperature-controlled glass houses, and remembering that when you are judged, it doesn't make any difference that it is literally me, and on the next stand it can be Blue Diamond who grow 11 million plants and buy more than 11 million plants and have multi-million-pound turnover and thousands of staff that can just, and then it's me. It is no. In my mind, it's no different than saying it's Real Madrid there, and you just feel honoured to be there, let alone being judged on the same criteria. So I said, right, let's do Chelsea, because what's the worst that happens? They say I can't come. I'm a bit rubbish. So they let me in, and I'm under no illusion that I suspect they let me in, because compared to 30 years ago, it may well be easier to get in. I don't know. They know I grow peat-free, and I think they need the peat-free growers to show what can be done, if that's now their policy. They try and get a spread across the country of growers. and they do need annuals, and there aren't that many people growing annuals. So I went to Chelsea, and then it was that year that I went to Chelsea. It was that October that we flooded, and I thought, well, we're never going to make it now. But we did, and I pulled it off. And then I had a big, might be able to see it behind me. I had a big kind of sculpture made for the centre of the stand of Rusty Cosmos, because the educational message was about from flood to flowers, to talk about actually, the resilience of gardens and indeed gardeners, to be honest. And got a silver medal, and had, again, just really interesting feedback. Yeah, some of them thought your sculpture was too big. It's like, all right, that doesn't help me, because that's like really subjective. Were my plants all right? Yeah. Some of them were a bit like small. Yeah, it's May. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, right. Anyway, but I took it on board and thought, had an amazing time. Queen came along, because the Queen's had my hollyhocks before, so that was an eye-opener, that I was the only one that the Queen visited in the whole Great Pavilion, so that probably annoyed everyone else. and then just applied again to do last year, also knowing that the Queen would come and visit me again, because she wanted some more of my Cosmos, but didn't tell the RHS that at the time. And so changed it up a bit, and you kind of, I think what people almost don't realise is you get what you are given in terms of almost stand size, and you can ask, but I don't think there's much like, well, I don't want that, I'd like that. It's like, well, that's what you can have. So it was a bigger stand, so I thought, oh my God, it's a one-shot job for me. It's almost like whatever I can get in this van, that's it. We don't come back. It's whatever can get in on that day. And just the whole logistics is almost crazy in itself, is that I'll pack a van on a Thursday during the day, sorry. So we'll hire this van. It costs extortionate amounts. A Premier Inn for Chelsea costs us about £1,500. This is kind of the cost of doing it as an individual. It's high water. And look, I'm not moaning, because don't do it, Jonathan. But I think almost people don't realise. I mean, the space is free. You are given the space, so there's no criticism. But the cost of doing it is extortionate. If you think, I'm growing these Cosmos starting in January, and to do Chelsea, I will at least grow probably 3,000 to 4,000 plants to take 80. That's the attrition rate I have, because they'll start flowering, and I'll find that even if you successionally sow, let's say, apricot, I know it's an earlier flower than a lot. Well, sometimes the light levels will get to a stage where they'll all start flowering at the same time, just be slightly smaller plants. Can't do much about that, because I've not got heated things, and I didn't have a shade tunnel until last year, which has saved me so much stuff. And anyway, so you do that, and you get down and you set your stand up, and a lot of people don't realise you're given this kind of wooden stand, and it's got black hessian on, but you're responsible for buying material to then cover it so it doesn't look as tatty as it did. You put all you are given, I think it's right, 45 minutes to unload everything, a slot. So the van drives, and because we weren't near, I carried. Again, because my plants are grown in the terracotta pots, they're not in plastic pots and hidden like a lot of gardens are. I'm there carrying 25, 26 as quick as I can. A full-size beehive that I've painted as a little bit of a prop. Just all sorts of stuff. And then for us, I'll have Friday, Saturday, Sunday to set it. And then on Monday, I think it's the Monday, it's both press day and you get judged. And when you get judged, you don't have to leave the pavilion like you do at Hampton Court. You kind of ushered away. And so there I am gossiping with someone, and all the judges had to shoot me away even more. So I thought, that's me blowing it again, hasn't it? Being the naughty one in the pavilion. And anyway, so this last year, then, and it's something I've pushed the RHS on, because I think it's important, is that everybody sees Chelsea, and you see lots of the show gardens, quite rightly. I think that's what they say bring people in. That's not what would bring me in, it's the growers. But anyway, what I've said is that when you are a grower, what you get is you go in on the Tuesday and find out what your medal is. It's on your stand. And then that's it. You're into the day, selling seeds to try and make your money back. So it's not presented to you. So I said, all right, if and when you get your first Chelsea Gold, which there aren't that many each year as a grower, couldn't you at least present it to the growers?
Yeah.
That's not a hard to promote growing, because there are some interesting grower stories. So my story would be, in history, that's the first time a collection of Cosmos has got a gold at Chelsea, because there's never been one before. But that's not the point. That's the first in history to ever have happened. So that can never happen again. That's an interesting story.
Yeah.
Present the medal. You don't get the metal medal until 4 months later. Present it at one of your events that you have in London anyway, to promote growers, not to promote me, to promote growers. Yeah. Because everybody else almost seems to have that nice publicity. The show gardens, you see it on telly and they'll, it's amazing. Doesn't happen with growers. You get it and you're into the day. And then it's kind of like, oh, right, that's it. But hey, amazing. I thought it was wonderful. And the feedback I got from one of the judges, which was, again, eye-opening, was that I know how hard it is, Johnathan, to get Cosmos to this whereas previously it never happened. I truly think the judges who had looked at it had never grown Cosmos and annuals and understood kind of the work, because all they will say is we can only judge what we can see. And my whole argument about the whole, I think the criteria needs to change anyways, that's not quite true. Is if I know about growing stuff, and I know that something like that will be easier to get to a certain stage than something like this. I know that there's no point just saying we can only judge what we can see, when you must know that to get Cosmos for Chelsea in May is an achievement, and in flower looking like almost, I can't go to a garden centre if mine aren't flowering and replace stuff. And when you think that there are exhibits made up totally of bought-in plants that will get awarded a gold and people will perceive them to be a grower, that's where I get a little bit concerned, because you're not comparing like with like. And I know a lot of growers who do the propagation from start to finish think this as well. Yeah. But all you will be judged on is, what does it look like? Yeah. But the compliment I got was, it looks amazing. Some of your plants are still in bud. It's like, well, that's kind of hard with Cosmos, because it won't all flower at the same time. And if one's flowering, would you rather have some in bud and some dead heading? Yeah. Or, he even had advice one way. I put one of these, because it's a national collection, I'm judged on educational criteria as well. I chose to be a Lindley criteria. I put pink pop socks, and I said that's on there because it's under threat and of extinction. That's part. No, just swap it out for wow factor. And in that instance, I did. Got awarded the medal, then swapped it after the medal. Because you kind of because I'd got some other full terracotta pots, and I wanted people to see pink pop socks, and it was of no benefit for me, because if there's less seeds, I can't sell seeds to cover the cost of going. But it was and my whole purpose of going, I think this is the other thing that I find interesting, is not everybody's there for the same reason. Some people are there, and quite rightly, solely as this is on my calendar, I run a business, I'm using it now to make money, which it never used to be, because you never used to be able to sell stuff. So that's one aspect. I'm there I need to cover my car sales. Mrs. Ursel will never let me go again. So there is that aspect. So this is coming back to, what do I do in winter? I am filling packs of seeds every night by hand, counting them all by me. So this is why I know if there's not enough seeds in anyone's packets, I literally can't blame anyone else. I'll probably just make up a member of staff that I have not got. Oh, they're terrible. We had to fire them. It's me.
Fire them. Won't happen again.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's awful. It's me. So it's all kind of that goes into the background. But it is an amazing experience. I wouldn't have found out last week that they've accepted me again for next year. I wouldn't have applied to do it again. And the experience for me is, hey, it is kind of cool meeting the Queen. It's kind of cool that she likes Cosmos and Holyhocks. That's kind of just cool in itself. But it's meeting the public and being able to talk about things like peat-free. I think for me, and I know not everyone agrees, that I can go there and say, hand on heart, and it doesn't apply to all exhibits in my mind, that anyone can, it's what you said at the start of the show before I kind of joined in, growing Cosmos are easy. Doing Chelsea isn't easy because you're getting them all at the same time, but anyone can get a terracotta pot like mine and have a display like that of that Cosmos. It is replicable, whereas some of the stands, there's no way, because they are, and it's fine, but they're forced. They're flown in from the Chris Hans guy next to me. His whole display was flown in from Holland as cut flowers. You cannot get that at this time of year. Mine, it's on the cusp of not being able to get it, but it also means that if they see mine at Chelsea, oh, have I missed this year? No, go home and sow them now, because that's what I'll be doing to do my national collection. Because I've not left it to die because no one's watering it. You can do what I've done, and actually, I don't sell plants. You can do what I do with packs of seeds. Sorry, garden sense. You don't need to buy any of their Cosmos plants. No. Just buy this pack and enjoy those and learn how to propagate them. Oh, what about peat-free? Yeah, these are all in peat-free. What, problem? I said, no, and do you know what's at the bottom of every terracotta pot? It's wicked peat-free. It's not even the expensive stuff. For doing the seeds it is, but that holds more water for me. Oh, right. What do you do about this pest? Because they all immediately the response is they want to, what do you spray with? Yeah, nothing. What do you mean? It's like, well, if there's that, I'll rub it off. And if it's the reason that's on is that plant's kind of under stress. That's why it's attracting this and that. And you're kind of giving them answers that it's almost like, I think that a generation hasn't heard for a while. They want, when you say, well, what do you do about those weeds? Weed them. They want, they're wanting, what do you spray? It's like, you're asking the wrong question. And I think there needs to be growers who are prepared to say that. Yeah. And then sometimes I get in trouble and I say a bit more. I say that they should change the whole criteria and there should be a green medal because they should be rewarding how you grow, not plant perfection. Because plant perfection, if it's killing bees and killing the environment, it's nonsense in this day and age.
Yeah. And that's one thing Chelsea need to get better at, is being more, sustainable. Yeah,
and look, this is where I do raise. I suspect that's why I was kindly put in that, whatever it means, power list, is that I will say things like that, because what would have happened is, if I kept banging on about the criteria aren't right and I hadn't won a gold medal, people say, well, you're just churlish because you've not got the medal and you don't like the criteria. But I'm still saying it. I'm still saying the current criteria that just judge what you can see as opposed to how you've got there aren't the right criteria. Because what you're almost saying is, Ben Johnson was the quickest in the 100 meters. We don't care that he took steroids. We don't care. It was just the fastest time. Or actually, that's not what growing is for me. Growing is, you can grow decent gold-winning looking flowers, but you can do it what I think is almost the right way or a better way. And that's not me saying I'm perfect. Some of my clothes, when you look, they're from China and they've got a carbon imprint of this and that. And my house still is run on heating oil because that's what we've got in this village, and I've not got solar yet. So not saying that it's perfect, but if I can show that, crikey, you did a national collection, you use solely rainwater, you don't use peat and you don't use spray, and they gave you a gold medal, well, if that lunatic who's not trained in horticulture can do this, I can do it in my garden, can't I? Yeah. And I think that's an important message. And sometimes I think that maybe the big flower shows have lost part of it about being a message to just gardeners like me. It's all about bigger messages. It's like with show gardens. It's like I can never afford one of those, anything probably off one of the show gardens. It'll give me some ideas, but I know mine's never going to look like it, and I can never afford it. So that's why.
Not relatable.
No, that's why I go and talk to proper growers. People, got to know the guys from Blackmore and Langdon and they hate it when you say anything. That's why I always do. It's like their family's been to every Chelsea flower show and they've got over 100 golds. They're amazing. Oh, and by the way, they've swapped to peat-free. So if they're managing it and I'm managing it, I start to question some that will say it's impossible. Whereas sometimes I worry that there's when they say they can't, what they really mean is they won't. And that's different. And that's a different argument. It can be harder. That's without a doubt. But then, it's quite hard being up at 2 a.m. worrying that your Cosmos might freeze just for a show to make a point, isn't it? And then you kind of think, why am I doing it? Because the judges could care less. The judges could care less that I'm doing that and wouldn't mind if I just went and bought them.
Yeah.
Kind of then question, well, what's the point? Well, I do think there's a point, because if you can show and almost do hand on heart, I've grown these. I've got, you literally say that my whole display is done with 70 seeds. Well, actually, it isn't. It's about 3,000, isn't it? But the actual display is a handful of seeds like that.
Yeah.
That's what you can get. That's quite a cool thing to be able to say.
Yeah, it really is.
Amazing.
But my
my
wife doesn't let me get big-headed. She keeps easily in my plate. That's for sure.
Do you think if we'd had a cold, wet, horrible spring, you would have been there in May?
Oh, this probably not. I mean, what's really interesting, because I put my name down for Hampton Court last year, and I pulled out because it is harder work for me, because you can't put the Cosmos outside, because you could, but then judges would be like, these are ridiculous. So they're kept inside. So that's why I had a shade tunnel. But even with that when it gets actually hotter is where it's more work, in a sense that keeping Cosmos alive, let's say for July, it physically would kill me, because it's literally all the watering is done by hand with watering cans. But yeah, the weather absolutely has an impact, and that's again where I have more respect for growers who have to fight that rather than those who can. Or if you have the money and the setup, you can cheat any weather, because you have lights, temperature controls.
Yeah.
Well, there's 3 stages, isn't there? You can buy your display, which happens. So someone else has got that responsibility. You just outsourced it. You turn up, have a set dresser, and put a display on. That happens. You have almost what I would call more professional growers, and I've got there's no criticism of that. It's just that's not me, who can cheat weather easier, which is sometimes what all gardeners, we're all trying to do a little bit of that. Is that in one sense it's the ridiculousness of flower shows, isn't it? That to get an award from them, the RHS, all I have to do is have what they see as plant perfection at one specific time.
Yeah.
Who cares the next day when the public are there? Because hey, they look brilliant then, and that's sort of in a way that's not what I'm about. It's like with my national collection, I don't care when they flower. So it's like people want to come, and it was really quite tricky again, almost this educational process that the RHS, I think they're going to put Cosmos in one of in their magazine next year, and they came and wanted to do photographs, and I kind of misunderstood. I said, well, you could have done them at Chelsea, because that's where I'd got them at the best. Oh no, we want to come to your house and do it. It's like, okay, well, when's good? It's like they won't all flower at the same time. They literally won't necessarily all be. When this is when people ask, well, what's your favourite? It's like they're all king for a day or an hour or a minute.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Exenia will look amazing with the sun behind it, and then it slightly starts to fade, and another cultivar looks better. So it really depends. But they came and they got enough for their purposes. But it's like kind of showing that in nature, everything doesn't necessarily look the greatest at the same time, and isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
I mean, I was once asked, would I like to see a day where at Chelsea that, let's say, a hosta could have a slug bite out of it? And I said yes. So I wouldn't want a hosta that had been decimated hard. But I think almost there's nothing wrong with an admission that hostas, that's an issue. And it's the sole reason why I will never take my hollyhocks to a flower show. because hollyhocks get rust, and there's two ways to deal with it. You can spray like nobody's business, which I know some growers have admitted the only way they took hollyhocks to an RHS show was not just spraying was spraying almost 3 times a day, antifungal stuff, which isn't necessarily great for the environment, which will keep it at bay, but there is no cure for rust, or you can take all the leaves off. Now, if you want, if you will accept hollyhocks being exhibited with no leaves, that's interesting. But I also think if you take hollyhocks to a flower show and rust isn't being mentioned, you're again selling the public almost misinformation. These things suffer from this. Don't be alarmed when you see it. Take the leaves off, plant them at the back, not at the front, dispose of the leaves, blah, blah, and they're an amazing plant. But if them getting rust is the reason why you won't grow it, then you probably shouldn't grow it. And because it may well come. And there's lots of plant hygiene stuff that you can do and all the rest of it. But just showing that plant perfection for me is almost being I mean, maybe I'm wrong. It just feels a little bit disingenuous.
Definitely does. It does feel. Yeah.
But at the moment, there is no way, and this is why I don't know whether butting heads is the right word. With the RHS, I always like to point out a problem and come up with a solution. Nobody wants the person pointing the problem out. That's easy. Give someone a solution as well. Then, okay, maybe So that was the green medal and all this and stuff, because I do think I use the analogy of, hey, look, in the 80s, I lived in America and I went to Barnum and Bailey's circus and the Ringling Brothers, and there were elephants. And no one thought a thing about that. Now we kind of think, probably shouldn't have been having animals in circuses and stuff. And we look back and think, At what point are we going to look back and think, you know what? Plant perfection at any cost? Yeah, not necessarily a good thing, that is it? Plants pumped up with feed that's energy intensive to produce this amazing look, but isn't reality. What were we thinking of? That's kind of where I am. And people say, well, why are you going to flower shows? It's like to almost show
that you can do it.
You can do it with the existing criteria, but also try to be a voice. Look, here's another example. The easiest thing for me is to turn the tap on. Water isn't that expensive for me. It's about £5 a 1,000 litres. If you took off the drainage stuff, which you can if you used it on your garden. It probably costs me more to collect the rainwater, the electricity to pump it. But I'm then making the point that if I can look after 2 national collections, do a flower show when you're growing 4,000 plants in 2 72-foot polytunnels and still not be really using the tap, people in smaller gardens, you can think about how you use water a little bit more. Yeah. It's not saying you shouldn't turn your tap on. You make your own choice. But I want to make that point, even if it comes at a little bit of more cost to me. At the moment, the RHS will talk quite rightly about being water-wise and stuff, but it shows it doesn't get rewarded. We don't care how you water them. Who cares? Yeah, and I understand everybody has their own, competing kind of what they're judged by. So the shows team will be judged by, was the show a success and did the pavilion look cool and amazing? Yeah. That will be there's people in charge of sustainability. I'd love them to walk around a little bit more during the week, because you see stuff that's like, well, that's not sustainable, and that looks awful. And we've said there's no single-use plastic, but by crikey, there's single-use plastic. So I purposely wrapped my trolleys in hessian, and I've used the same hessian every year for my plant trolleys. Others are using the bags around. Some still have cellophane all around it. Just little stuff like that. It's an eye opener.
I suppose it would be hard for them to judge what you've used to grow those plants. You say you've used rainwater, but they don't know that. You might have had it in peat for most of the time, and then a week earlier you put it in peat free. Yeah. So that might be a little, why they might not.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. But then they've got their policy on peat free, so don't have a rule if you can't enforce it. So
what is their policy?
So the show next year, all exhibit. Well, here we go. There was a slight U-turn which I had issues with, and others still want to use it as an exit. So for me, it's more interesting for me as an annual. So there's something called legacy peat. So if you have a bonsai tree and it's got peat in, they're not asking you to wash it out because that's stupid.
That's fair enough.
Given that my plants will be started next year, I cannot grow in peat. I don't. Right. But quite rightly, who knows that?
Mm.
Now I have answers how you can show that. I can show all my invoices for buying peat free.
Yeah.
I can. You can come. The amount of stuff I put on of the bags of my peat free stuff. I'd be interested in all growers doing that. Show me what you're growing in.
Mm.
So it's, for me, it is enforceable, but it's not necessarily easy. My other argument is there's not that many nurseries that do RHS shows in total. If Plant Heritage can check as a tiny charity national plant collections, the RHS could visit a nursery.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been visited ever.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll see tons of peat, pesticides, the tap spraying water all over the place, and a load of bought-in Cosmos. But in all seriousness, I've worked in the corporate world in other sectors where it almost seems that sustainability there is audited far more than in this area, whereas actually my assumption was, gardening, you kind of should be caring about the environment. You're interested in gardening.
Yeah.
We should care a little bit more than the gambling industry where I work, but we had to, it was a bit like when I was at Boots. There was it was then when the plastic bag debate was happening. And we, at the time, we showed that actually paper bags, we were being judged on CO2 emissions for lorries and had to provide that for your report and accounts. And the CO2 for transporting paper bags was huge. And that's why plastic bags weren't phased out then. It was a cost. Boots didn't want to use any bags because every retailer was tight. They used to give 30 million bags out a year. But they had to report all that stuff. No one will know the CO2 impact of me doing Chelsea.
No.
And but I'm not expecting it to get to that level. But look, for me, it's a positive step that they're going towards the shows being peat free. Yeah. It's positive that the RHS retail outlets, their online and so online's probably bigger than their 5 sort of garden centre shops. That will be peat free totally from next year. Because then if all their plants are, and B&Q all their plants are, and for me it's showing all the different types of plants can be done. Because I can't speak to how hard it is to grow in peat free for plants that I don't specialise in.
Yeah.
But if someone else can show that they're doing it, then there's a best practice. Well, what are you using? Oh, that's interesting. How do you water it? Doesn't it need more feed? Oh, that's not so good. What can we do? And finding that stuff out. But then there's back to that disconnect of, if all that's happening, but shows are still just about the wow, it almost seems that there's a misstep at some point.
Yeah, most definitely.
So it wouldn't be that hard, because how many people show in the at Chelsea? A couple of hundred in there?
I think there's only about 90 growers, would have thought.
Oh, was that all? Yeah, so a couple of people throughout the year.
Some of them are now massive, so everyone wants so David Austin, all their roses, it's printed on in all the retail outlets, peat free. So in the sense that's known. I think most of Blue Diamond stuff they have sort of a big spot now as one of the corporates. So when you start almost knocking off those established figures that everyone's heard about, and then you can knock off mouthy people like me that it's kind of one of their issues that they try and push it. But I think it's important to push. I've come almost to this area where you sometimes think there is, for some, a fear of any change. And sometimes it's almost like, have you not seen that if it's all about money for you, there's a market opportunity for more environmentally credible products, guys. People are interested in that stuff. It's not necessarily, if you are solely trying to compete with the supermarkets on price, then I think you're doomed, because it's just you're going down to the bottom of if somebody tells me, oh, I can buy a Cosmos plant for 50p, well, go on then. It's fine, because I'll show you how much my even if you exclude my a kind of a labour cost of, it's like, well, that's not me. But if somebody's wanting to buy, and people will, and that's why it's kind of strange. Like sometimes they think, oh, well, your Cosmos now must be your Cosmos seed must be better because you've got a gold at Chelsea. No, it's still the same. I've got a gold because, again, I had to outwork and put that effort in and create be a bit more flexible than okay, we'll change that plan. And look, people came up to me, and it was quite funny. It made my wife laugh because they said, "Oh, this display's it's improved on last year." And I was like, she says, it's like, I like last year. What do you mean? She say, no, I think it's better too. It's like, well, I still think last year was good. So you, fortunately, when you are that close to it and have been for January, February, March, April, May, you become almost like Cosmos blind. It's like, this is as good, and sometimes that is as good as it can get with the weather and the conditions. And if you think that when I didn't have this shade tunnel, we bought a gazebo, and some of them were big old Cosmos, and then they blew down in the wind. It's like that one's gone. And, getting angry that the, let's say, the 150 terracotta pots that you think are possibles start, like, the attrition just before the date is like start scaring you. You think, I'm not going to have anything left. It's going to be terrible, and like that. It comes back down to when people say, gardening's good for your mental health. Let me tell you, there's 2 points here. Is that it worries me when you hear that, because I think sometimes there's gardening as a pastime versus gardening as people who work hard, because that's not always great for your mental health. And exhibiting, not good for your mental health. You'll end up arguing with yourself. Talk to your plants, the filthy language I'm shouting at them when they're letting you down. It's like, you aren't going to make it. I get out. So there's, I'm joking, but there are aspects of that, which is why, but it's, it's not reality, is it? The reality is a load of lovely Cosmos that will, shouldn't be flowering really in May. They should be flowering a bit later, and they'll flower when they want, and hopefully they'll flower all the way till November, and then I start to worry maybe they're keeping the bees out too long, and I should chop them down because the bees need to go away and leave them alone. So I start thinking bad that I'm keeping bees from hibernating or whatever. That's kind of the gardening I'd like. The flower show is almost like a platform to talk about what I think is important, because sometimes at those flower shows people aren't talking about that. There may be.
Sorry, did you hear maybe on the grapevine or anything in the background that people thought you might have forced yours or used lights and temperature gauges and everything to get them where they were in May?
No, I didn't. I guess because I try and put as much as I can online.
Yeah.
You must
have had people come up to you and say, "How did you do that?"
Tell you what, the very first year at Hampton Court was, I've never seen Cosmos like that from other growers. It's like, what have you done? It's like, well, nothing, just kept watering them, and which is why they got too much stem, apparently. It's like, that's what but it's almost because people hadn't seen Cosmos like that. It's like, well, if you stick loads in the ground, it's like, but it's no different to, people say, well, how many's in that pot for a show? And I said, there's 3, and there's far too many. It's not good for your plant health. I'd never put 3 in a terracotta pot that big. It's ridiculous. But you do for the show. So there's all those aspects, again, not of reality. I mean, maybe I'm being really naive. Maybe growers are really like snidey at shows and just say it behind your back. Maybe they say, he must have this great heated blimp of a whatever polytunnel. He's got central heating in there. It's my biggest threat will be if this year, if we get frost that last all through the day. Because, I mean, as you'll know, as soon as the sun comes up, the polytunnel is amazing.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law will never understand that a polytunnel can be red hot on a cold day, but is literally almost the same temperature as outside at night. And which is why I like, I try to combat that. I'm filling, one throughout the centre's got all my compost bags, so there's some thermal mass. I move water butts in so that the black water butts, the water at least hold some temperature. So doing kind of just to keep a frost off. And hey, look, maybe it's almost a bit like, I mean, obviously sweet peas are frost hardy to whatever, -5. Maybe that coolness made them better plants because they just became a bit more robust. Yeah. Because it's interesting, I've had Cosmos smut before, where they say almost you should like dump the plant. I had nothing like that this year. Maybe it's also because I've got a shade tunnel where stuff could go in as well. But disease-wise, there was like nothing this year, which, given how what the weather was like, was quite amazing. And maybe it's because they're not forced, they're not as susceptible. I mean, I don't know. I'm not enough still of an expert on Cosmos to say every year you still learn. Oh, that's quite interesting. I've still never managed to get a Versailles Tetra to the show, even though that some of the other cultivars, 8 weeks of successional sowing, and they'll all be flowering, and the first 4 weeks are like flowering too early. Versailles Tetra is still a swine, and I know I'm going to try it again this year because you always expect a different result. That's the joy of gardening. You always think you've done the same thing, but you never have. Which is what I say. People are very interesting. Sometimes with seeds, they'll go, I love those seeds, but those seeds are rubbish. It's like, all of apricotta, it's all from the same place, all the same seed. But okay, if you think that company's better than that, okay, So you find out, you find stuff like that, and you don't realise, and I guess I don't till you start like kind of looking at that. They'll say, You're watering at the back of a tray in a greenhouse will be slightly less than another, and there's one difference straight away. I know the temperature in my polytunnels, because we've got large poplars, changes for an hour from one to the other. Yeah. But then you look at but to your human kind of eye, ears, and head, and your senses, it all feels the same. And then you'll go in, and why those Cosmos seem to be a week ahead? Well, that's had almost another hour of daylight, compared to the one where the poplars shade it later in the afternoon. Yeah. Well, you don't see it, but the plant clearly does. Yeah. And it gives you this difference that you really haven't noticed and you haven't accounted for. So it's like this next year. I mean, I'm going to be choosing from probably 51 different Cosmos, and only 25 would fit on a stand.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
But I'll be doing like 3 different Versailles Tetras, because I'd really like to take one, because actually it's a robust, nice looking plant. And some people say, what's your favourite? It's like, well, you can't really have a favourite, but because there's Cosmos, and same with the Holyhocks, there's different flowers for almost different purposes. Some will be the dwarf bedding ones, some will be the Rubenza that flops all over the place. Arthur Parkinson came one of the years and said, well, why, I love that, that's my favourite, why haven't you got it on the stand? I said, because I thought the judges would, say that plant, it's ill, but that's what it does. But they don't, and that opened my eyes. I always assumed that the judges would know more than you, and the problem with having a national collection is actually...
You know more than them.
You know more than them. That can be problematic, taking feedback, because it's like, no, it shouldn't do that. No, definitely. It was like some Cosmos, the flowers are almost all on the top. Oh, well, but that's what it's done, And I was advised by one judge, well, I'd never heard of it. Is it B6 or something? Oh, you can spray something on it and it keeps it dwarf. It's like, 2 points. I don't do that kind of stuff. And why would I want to keep a tall Cosmos dwarf? Buy a dwarf Cosmos for a dwarf one. So there are literally, almost each of the big companies has their own small white one, big white one, and the same. A lot of the pink, a lot of them look very similar. A candy floss pink to a Casanova pink to, to an Apollo pink. They're all small each different big company has its own small pink one. Take your pick. Some of the yellow ones, they look quite this. Lemonade and Xanthos and Kiro. Take your pick. Try them. Take your pick. It's and so that was interesting. I pressed the RHS back to the green medal, and in a letter they said perhaps the judges weren't equipped to judge sustainability, and I think that's probably right. But it doesn't mean someone shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Someone, I don't think it would be that hard to find out growers that are more inclined to, and how you judge it, I don't know. But hey, that's kind of not the point. It's start thinking about it. My view is we shouldn't reward almost bad behaviour. The tax system's always on about, you tax stuff that's bad for us and you subsidise stuff that's good for us. Well, as the biggest gardening charity probably in the world that's keen on biodiversity, sustainability, let's not reward what we're telling ordinary gardeners is now bad behaviour.
Yeah.
And my argument is always, it's almost tongue-in-cheek. It's, garden gnomes are banned from Chelsea, but hey, plants with pesticides, what can we do? But we could do some stuff, couldn't we?
Definitely.
We could have more advocates for this way of growing and be a bit more vocal and
definitely
be a bit more critical of, that was what we did. So we've always done it, and that's how it's been done for 30 years. Well, okay, things change, You see rose companies, don't you, that say that they're withdrawing roses now because it isn't a good rose without pesticides and stuff. That's a positive. Is that not a positive thing?
Yeah, and if you've got a medal which is rewarding somebody for doing something right, then that's something for people to actively try and get. So you're going to encourage more people to be more sustainable.
That's kind of my view of the green medal. It's like, my worry at the moment is the medal can be obtained for not necessarily doing the best of things.
Yeah.
Or not growing it at all, which perplexes me. It's like, that would be like me getting Linford Christie to do the 100 metres for me. But I'll have the medal.
I'll have the medal.
What's the difference? I mean, seriously, it's almost like, what's the difference? My argument again was the RHS will have its botanical photography competition. Do they have to do their own photo? Oh yes. Well, why don't growers have to grow their own stuff then?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And look, it's. I understand. I point these out almost to poke them, not in a critical way, as to just try and think, okay, well, let's find a way of. That you look back at some of the historic pictures of Chelsea, and look, maybe it was easier because maybe there were more people doing horticulture and you had more horticulture colleges and all the rest of it. But you see black and white pictures of strawberry displays. Well, they weren't flown in from Spain or wherever. They were so. Where's that?
Yeah.
Where's that these days? Or is that just seen as, I don't know? Is there a bit of a snobbery that it's passé and it's not the done thing now? I don't know. Because if it is, then maybe that's a bit dangerous. Maybe Cosmos will be unfashionable, and we don't want those there, and all the rest of it. Which then then it'd be a shame.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Cosmos must be one of the most loved annuals. Gotta be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame you don't see more. I understand why you don't see more in garden centres of all the different ones, but then, look, you can convince people to have a go with the seeds. That's for me even better. That's the bit I enjoy the most. It's almost the propagation of stuff and seeing it, absolutely worrying like hell that your first week's successional sowing hasn't emerged and have the mice. I mean, because the mice have, I don't know even if they eat them, but they've definitely snaffled my Cosmos seeds before in the polytunnel. And then you worry, have they had like 2 weeks of successional sowing and blown you getting to a flower show? But your first kind of seeds emerging, that's when I get a bit of a kick from the growing, because you think kind of without my intervention that wouldn't have been happening. That's kind of cool. That's why I don't always buy into the nature knows best, because part of gardening was work with it, but I want to have a bit of involvement. I'm part of the ecosystem, and this is what I've done. Without my little bit, that wouldn't be here. Without me growing those cosmos, the bees wouldn't be on them. Without me planting the native hedging, that wouldn't be beneficial. That not all intervention is necessarily bad.
Yeah. I think there's a few questions popping up, Mark, isn't there? What's Joe said? Where can you get all these unusual varieties from?
Oh, crikey. So, I mean, it's not that they're unusual. It's just that you don't see some of the bigger ones. So pure. Maybe I'm going to all the wrong garden centres and nurseries. I don't even think you see as a plant something like Purity, which is just almost the traditional white cosmos. The seeds will be available from most seed companies, Thompson & Morgan, Sutton's, Fothergill's. There's a wide selection of cosmos seed out there. So that that's the first place. But plants wise, I do think you'll struggle. I've never seen an apricotta plant for sale.
No.
Yet apricotta as just almost a different colour of a cosmos bipinnatus is really quite cool. I really was interesting. The first year I took it to Hampton Court, people were like, oh well, I don't know if it'll go in my colour scheme. Well, I never really understood that because I've never got a colour scheme. But but then it shows you again about fashion. Somebody famous had put it somewhere. People couldn't get enough. Literally.
Yeah.
Okay. But seed companies' websites, type in Cosmos, there will be all sorts. So, and I mean, what I would add is that certain seed companies may well almost own certain cultivars. So, Thompson & Morgan, because they've bred the cupcakes varieties, they'll be more available than not. But they'll have cupcakes white, cupcakes blush. Thompson & Morgan and Sutton's will probably be the only ones that have got. Well, I've got them as well, but Sakura and Fondant Fancy, because that came out last year. Because it's interesting that they got that as a cosmos because an American customer there was a genetic mutation and they sent the seeds, and Thompson & Morgan thought they had merit and they grew it on, and it was where all the petals fused together, and which is where all the cupcakes things have come from.
Oh, right.
So that's what I'm hoping one day, that when I collect all this, like these mixed ones, that I'll keep sowing them, and all of a sudden there'll be this miraculous one cosmos as big as a dahlia, or something ridiculous, that I can call something else as equally ridiculous, and probably get about 50 pence for, or something like that. but yeah, my advice would be go and look at the seed companies. That's the way, and don't be afraid of having a go, and don't necessarily don't copy when I'm sowing them. When I'm putting stuff on next year, do not copy me because mine's stupid and I'm doing it far too early for Chelsea. Don't have fear of missing out because it creates far more work sowing Cosmos early than if you just wait a bit, because unless you've got a greenhouse and stuff, if you put in a windowsill, they get leggy and all the rest of it. But yeah, have a go with seed. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I've ever bought a Cosmos plant from garden centre. I always grow mine from seed.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because obviously I purposely have a look and turn my nose up at some of the shabby looking ones and look how this has been treated, Julie, to my wife. This is disgraceful. This one, and then some of them are really quite expensive now. I mean, some of them are like £8 for a 2 litre pot, and it's like, oh, look at my polytunnel, Julie. I'm a millionaire again.
Yeah.
if only I could do something with them, and they're not for the show. So again, the ones that don't make the show go just like go in the ground, go in the bins for the collection, and I'll try and get my father-in-law to kind of water them, which can be a debacle. So it's not like that they get wasted or anything, but it is a shame almost the amount that you have to. It's not you can't. Wouldn't it be wonderful if to get those 25 pots with 3 plants in, you just had to grow 75 plants? that would be wonderful. But I chatted with other growers who told me almost their hit rates for, let's say, delphiniums and stuff, and mine was, my percentages were lower. And I think maybe that's because it's an annual that just bursts into flower, and then that's kind of it.
Yeah.
But that's where kind of the effort is as well.
If it was that easy, everybody would do it. So you got to have something about you to have the patience and knowledge to do it, haven't you?
Yeah, I say. I mean, I think it's part of my, my makeup is that I think my mum once told me, they'll never let you stand for Parliament, so I did it twice. And then someone said, well, you'll never be able to do the London Marathon, and without ever training ever. I did it 4 times.
Wow.
So if someone tells me
you're not going to do it,
you can't. It's like, at some point I'll be too. It's like, well, let's see. And it was, it's. I will put. It is hard work. I mean, you'll realise this because you garden and things. It's not easy. Otherwise, if it was easy, there'd also be more annuals. That is the reality. It's not like at that time of year, if I was one of those that wanted to buy a display, there aren't any Cosmos around anywhere anyway, because there's no financial reason for them to be. Perennials and stuff there is. So the only way you can do, which is probably why one of the judges won't be able to do Chelsea, was the only way you can do it is, I'll be sowing in January and I will have racking in the living room, because that's how I keep them warm. And I'll probably have 3 weeks worth of Chelsea sowing, maybe even 4, still in the living room. Because I need to keep them frost free. And then it's like, oh God, there's just not enough light. They're going to have to go in the polytunnel. And I'm going to have to, every night cover and all sorts. And that's the unseen bit. But the payback is you get to stand with people actually who I do admire, the people who are the proper growers. Because I still don't. I'm not a proper grower, but they have bred things, and there are things in existence because of them on their dad, and that are named after them, and this cultivar, and the famous gardens. But then my wife will say, well, you've grown hollyhocks for the Queen, and Balmoral Castle have just asked for some of your seed. And it's like, well, yeah, that's kind of cool as well, isn't it? And the Queen's wrote me 6 personal letters and things like that. That's kind of cool. Yeah. So maybe I am a bit in the Growers Club. I don't know.
You definitely are.
You do feel quite an imposter when you see, like, I'll go around and look at, some of the displays at the flower shows that aren't show gardens but are done more as a garden.
Yeah.
And I think, wow, they're amazing. I'll never be able to do it because I know that's not my skill. I'll never be able to do that. That's really cool. But I tell them and ask them. I'm sometimes surprised how some growers aren't inquisitive about anything.
No.
But it's like, wow, how have you done that? Where have you got? How do you grow that? What do you use? Because this is when I talk about proper growers, that I'll make them laugh because they'll say, what's your potting machine? Because they've got some kind of petrol. And I go, these are my potting machine, and then they'll go, what's your irrigation machine? And it's like, these, and then watering cans, and because it's like, it literally is. I've got the IBCs that will hopefully fill up all over winter. All goes in the dunking tank, and my elbows and shoulders are killing. and it's almost, a lot of them will say, Chelsea, it's so tiring. It's like, tiring? I'm having a break from watering for the 3,000 plants. This is bliss. So that's kind of the difference, because that is when you realise, it literally is. I couldn't do it without my wife, who's got a job and all the rest of it, support, and she'll come and do the full week and a bit, and actually she'll be the one driving the van down with the plants in, because then I can always blame her if one's fallen over. It was your bad drive, all stuff like that. But the actual growing and the seed and everything else, there's no volunteers, there's no secret. It's me. And that's when, you kind of think, yeah, I am up against places that have got, even that small nursery, they've got 10 people, and that one's, multi-million-pound one. And That one's got 30 volunteers that they've given away tickets to so they can come and set their stand up. It's me, and then setting the stand up, it's me and Julie. So just to be there is me almost is winning that gardening Olympics.
Yeah.
Almost just to be, and then therefore to be there 3 times in a row doesn't matter now, does it? That I've had 2 Chelsea medals. One was one was gold. It really doesn't matter now. And if I really want to be funny and annoy people, which I kind of do, because I quite like to have a laugh. A lot of them are a bit serious there. I'll go up to someone and say, when I got my silver medal, and I did this. I said to Nick Landon, who's Blackmore Langdon, I said, I'm the best cosmos grower in this pavilion, but you're only the second best delphinium grower. And the thing is, wherever I've been, even if I got no medal, I'd still be the best cosmos grower because no one else is the best cosmos. So that's why I jokingly they said, "Oh, you're King Cosmos." So I say that's right, because no one else is doing it, and they're probably quite wise not to do it with Cosmos.
Brilliant.
Nightmare to transport, nightmare to get there, but fun. But it's good fun, and I think it's like I've still got these today. Look, still picking tons of.
Yeah, look at that.
That are just left to their own devices. Not even bothering deadheading them now because they'll be on the way out. It's a nice plant.
They are brilliant.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Well, Jonathan, I don't really know why I thought I better message you earlier and see about some things that we could talk about.
I can't shut up.
That has been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I do know one thing: you've got a fan because Jo hadn't stopped bigging you up. She's Norfolk Blue Door Flowers. She didn't stop bigging you up for the whole hour and a half. So yeah, you've definitely made a fan there.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. Yes. So we're not quite finished because Mark does a lightning round. If you're up for that, quickly.
Let's go.
Nice, simple, quick fire round. So first one to get you started: favorite band or artist?
Pulp.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
Met his mum once, Christine. Tried to force a pork pie on me. Long story.
We'll leave that there. In the summer, are you a cuppa in the morning sun or a cold drink relaxing watching the sun go down? Probably neither. You're too busy watering.
Yeah, it is. Probably both. Both, to be honest. I definitely drink in the morning. If I had to choose, it'd probably be cuppa in the morning because I'll be up early.
Yeah, definitely. Flowers or edibles?
Flowers afraid for me, sadly.
Beach or forest?
Ooh, forest.
Me every time as well. What's your go-to emoji in a text message?
Probably poo. That's just generally to my wife.
I don't think that's ever come up before either, and I'm amazed it hasn't.
Yeah, definitely.
I think there is a Cosmos emoji, isn't there, as well? Or something that's very similar.
Yeah, there's a pink one, but I'm not giving my wife. She can have flowers, but it's emojis.
Yeah. If you could only have one snack for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Snack? Oh. If it was chocolate, I'd have a Snickers. Yeah.
I don't mind Snickers.
Meal in a bar.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Any time I think, I fancy a Snickers, I'm really hungry, and that does fill the gap for a bit.
Yeah.
It's got nuts. Finish the sentence. My perfect day would be
in the polytunnel. It's love hate. It's like
watering, deadheading.
Or just one word, propagating. Actually,
yeah, it's propagating. Yeah. What is today's favourite plant?
Today, I'm quite into delphiniums. I know we spoke about Blackmore and Langdon again. I'm trying to get hold of quite a lot of their delphiniums. So, yeah, I suspect I won't grow them very well at all, and I might end up killing them, and it might be a disaster. But I think I don't know. I think they're quite amazing.
They are stunning flowers. They are really pretty.
But when I see theirs and then what I'll grow, I'll probably really disappoint myself. but again, I'm going to have a go. Definitely want to have a go. But yeah.
Why not? Favourite season?
Oh. Autumn.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
It's definitely the favourite. Most people say autumn. If you could make one thing disappear from your garden or the gardening world, what would it be?
Rabbits.
Definitely. Get rid of
And I don't, I'm not one of those that hate. I quite like wildlife. They just, I can't even do a proper open day here because I think it's not being awful. The average age is probably older than me, and even I have nearly killed myself breaking ankles. Because you can fill them in, and then the next morning
there's 3 more.
It all out, and it's because we're on our property has a drainage ditch next to the field, and I think they're just in the sides. So, there we are, rabbits. I'm afraid you need to go move somewhere else, just a little bit.
Definitely. What's your favourite weed?
Nettles, because I find them quite useful.
Good
for me. Use them for plant feed and things. So I know a lot of people hate them, but I'll never be rid of them here. It's meant to be a good sign of good soil. So people tell me. I don't know if that's true, and they're quite useful.
Yeah, they are a good one. Favourite gardening scent?
Sweet peas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sweet peas are amazing. And the final one, if you could choose 3 people to garden with, who would they be?
Oh.
Go on, the Queen.
No. The King and the previous Queen. Then I can get a peerage, and I'd like to spend. We've chatted a lot. I'd like to see and garden with Adam Frost.
Yeah.
This is quite. I'd quite like David Beckham because he's saying he's going to be doing gardening, and they're naming a rose after him. So I want to see how good he is.
Or is it somebody else?
He's gardening, isn't he?
Yeah, so he'll be at Chelsea next year because they're going to put a rose out with his name on. So I'd like to see how dirty his fingers get. Crikey. That's a really good one. It's not going to be the Queen.
It will, I know it will.
It definitely isn't. I wouldn't mind seeing Alan Titchmarsh garden as well with me.
I think he does actually get on with it as well. I always assumed he wouldn't, but I've heard from various people that he does put in a shift.
He don't have 3 people digging the soil over for him and then digs the soil. Yeah, so I think those 3 would just be quite. Yeah, I'd take those 3, please.
That'd be a good mix.
Sure
it would. Be some good conversations for a day, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd obviously slag Man United off for quite a while. That'd be why I'd have him there.
Brilliant.
There.
Yeah, all done.
Yeah, that's me 3.
Thank you so much for your time.
Fantastic. It's been really, really good.
Fantastic information you've shared with everyone.
Yeah, hope it's been useful, and the Holyhocks as well. Got to talk about rust.
Yeah. So what shows are you at next year?
Just applied. I mean, again, because it's just me, I again thinking that you could do both. I mean, it probably would be possible if I had almost watering help, but I'm down to do, and got accepted last week to do Chelsea. So fingers crossed with the weather. I say starting them off's fine because they'll start them off inside, much to my wife's annoyance. Because she thinks with all those polytunnels, it should all start off in there, but they'll start in here. and then hopefully, it's not too bad. The biggest issue for me will be cold, because obviously they're just not frost hardy. So
depends how bad a winter we get.
Yeah. And what I'd like. I think then this is what I've always said though, like that when I first went and saw again proper nurseries pull out in a year that I got there, there's no shame in not making it.
Yeah.
If the weather is what the weather is, that's life, isn't it? And most gardeners know that is that you can only do so much.
Yeah.
So I will be proper busy from I guess second week in January with I need to choose what the Cosmos, because I'm not sure I can do a full 51 successionally sowed over 8 weeks, because that would just be a load of plants. So I may knock some out, but they'll probably start being sowed. So I'm changing it actually from next year, because I know that some flowered almost too early. So I won't start sowing whichever ones I choose. I probably won't sow them all in the first week. I'll sow the ones that I know take the longest and then introduce. But it's almost like creating an Excel file. It's ridiculous. Excel file. Which ones? Making sure you don't drop the tins of the seeds or mix them, because then that's a nightmare in itself.
Yeah.
There's a nightmare if there's rogue seeds in as well, because when they end up growing in the pots, they go in the terracotta pots before they're in flower. So there's all that to kind of juggle. But that will start pretty much 2 weeks into the new year.
Wow.
Brilliant.
So that's fine.
And your number one fan has just said, are you going to Sandringham? Because that's really close to her and me.
And it wouldn't be that hard from us. And the reason I'm not is I was intrigued as to the accommodation for growers, in terms of it's seemingly in the middle of kind of like, tourist
Nowhere.
Yeah, in the middle of tourist season, in the middle of nowhere. So because why Hampton Court worked for us is, again, we hired a van, dropped the stuff off. The van went back with my stepdad, and Hampton Court we could walk into a Premier Inn, and the same at Chelsea we can go into a Premier Inn.
Yeah.
If you've got to take a car, and I'm not when it's the very first year, it'll be interesting how the roads cope at Sandringham for exhibitors, and it's just I mean the reality is that's an issue, but I can only probably do one show. So if I'm going to do one, the one that gets most footfall is sadly, because it's the most expensive for people to get to, but that's the one where I can, for me, it's all about sort of meeting people, talking to them. Yeah. Maybe they'll take a pack of seeds home and feel sorry for me and subsidise the collection a bit, but it's that's why sort of, if I had to do one, that would be the one.
Yeah, Chelsea every time.
Definitely.
Yes.
Right. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. It's been great.
Thanks everyone for listening.
Brilliant. Yeah, really, really good. And I will come and see you if I'm at Chelsea, which I probably will be, because I normally am.
Do, and even if they're rubbish, just say they look great. That's all you have to. Then behind my back you can say he's definitely got a big heated glass house. And look at all that peat he's used and pesticides the swine.
Yeah, and stuck it in some Wilco.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Yes, take care.
See you later.
Bye.
Brilliant.
Oh, lovely chap.
I love getting to know, like, in behind the scenes of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You don't hear it very often, do you? These people that are bringing the creme to la creme to these shows.
Yeah.
How much
I can remember seeing him at Chelsea and seeing his stand. It was amazing.
It was, yeah. I remember it. I don't think he was about when I was at Chelsea, actually there, but
yeah,
it was stunning.
Yeah, really nice. Really, really nice. Stood out because there isn't 5 stands with it all on, and they all blend in when there's loads and loads of them, don't they?
That's the thing, like with the lilies and stuff like that. There's several people doing lilies, and his Cosmos, and because it's something that you can do you can grow Cosmos yourself. It's like, I can attain some of that. But to the level that it goes to and how sustainable it is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's from Lincolnshire, so he gets extra points for being from Lincolnshire.
Oh, brilliant. Love that. 9:30, bedtime.
It is bedtime. Late on.
Right, I'll see you. Have a nice rest of your holiday and see you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good week. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Through the Garden Gate.